This episode of Tech News Weekly is brought to you by Braintree Payments. Mobile app development can be complex, but integrating your payments no longer has to be. With Braintree, your business can accept nearly every type of payment from any device with just one integration. To learn more, go to braintreepayments.com/TNW.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarian, and with me is a full panel. The one, the only.
Full panel.
Suncast is here with us. How you doing, John?
Hello.
How do you feel? I know you were a little under the weather. You had a terrible flu all week.
Yeah, I'm still not 100% recovered, but I'm doing much better than I was Tuesday.
Well, who are you kidding? You are never going to be 100%. We're always a little off here on the show. And the returning big shot, YouTube extraordinaire, John Prosser from Front Page Tech. How you doing, John?
I'm back.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while.
And I really have not spoken to you. I don't know what you've been up to. Like, I know nothing about you.
We have a thing about that where we just won't speak in ever, and then all of a sudden, like, we start talking, we're fine, everything's cool. But then if, like, we don't talk, it's not like
yeah, but, I really like you. I genuinely
I really like you too,
the stuff that you do with Front Page Tech. I like all the videos that you put out every day. My entire website is covered.
You, like, literally go to the YouTube videos and hit the like button every day?
I do actually go and like the videos.
That's what you need to do.
I do.
I don't care if you watch. Just
no, every time. I always like the videos. I was at a bar yesterday and I was showing some of the stuff that we have on the website to people, and I was like, "See this kid right here? This kid's got it." I was like an old-timey
That's
agent.
Because my face is all over your website.
There's no avoiding John Prosser on GFQ at this point. You do more content than I have in years on my own website. So kudos to you. Like, you're doing some amazing things.
That's the crazy thing, because like I watched GFQ before I even like met you, or quote unquote met you.
I know.
And
I
if
inspired.
Someone would just show me a screenshot with my face all over your website, I'd been like, how the hell?
By the way, you're a semi-drunk, right?
Semi.
Okay. I'm glad that I have influenced all aspects of your life, career, personal.
Right.
I'm really glad you followed in my footsteps as the young 13-year-old John Prosser that discovers GFQ. You know who else told me they found me?
Dude, I was raised right.
Yeah, you were raised right. This is how it works. You know, like Howard inspired me. Like I'm a product of like the Stern way of doing radio, right? A lot of rough edges, a lot of smoke and mirrors when you do your broadcast. But at the end, it's not this like confined, like, and that's the way the news goes. You know, it's not that kind of broadcast. You know, it's all over the place. I'm glad I have extended my foot stamp on broadcasting with semi-drunks like you and total unprofessional people.
That's how you know you made it, Andrew.
That's how you know. That's it, kid. You got it. Guys, we do have a lot to talk about. Hey, John, are you going to join us for the Apple event next week?
Why not?
Okay, I didn't ask you. So this is my formal invitation for September 7th, which we're going to talk about. But before we continue, boys and girls, let's take a moment and talk about our great sponsor, and that's Braintree. Simple, secure payments and code you could integrate extremely quickly. To learn more about Braintree, go to braintreepayments.com/TNW. I have so many emails that have come in over the last year from web developers, from app makers, from business owners that have heard about Braintree through our podcast on this show and, of course, on What the Tech. And it's always the same email. It starts like this. Hey, Andrew, saw you talking about Braintree, gave it a shot. Oh, my God, my life is so easy now. Braintree is a powerful full-stack payment platform that allows you to accept nearly every type of payment out there, no matter what device you're on. And no matter what language, it does Java, Ruby, Python. It has a full range of server-side and client-side SDKs available. You could also accept all different types of payments, Apple Pay, Bitcoin, Android Pay, no matter what it is that's out there. And, of course, every major currency out there. And this is a major part here because every week there's a new payment system. Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, Android Pay. It just happens over and over again. If you're a business accepting these payment platforms, accepting these payment methods is a huge, huge part of your business. You don't want to turn anyone away because they wanted to pay with Apple Pay, and they decide, you know what, I was going to buy it on Apple Pay. Now they don't accept it, so it makes my life easier if I go somewhere else. No, you don't want to do that. There's no harm in integrating all these different platforms. With Braintree, it's super easy. It's literally a couple lines of code, and you are done. To learn more about Braintree, go to braintreepayments.com/TNW. Let them know we sent you, and also send us your emails, because I love to hear more about how you've implemented this and how it's working out for you. braintreepayments.com/TNW. I love these guys. You know who else I love? I love everybody on this show. And I want to take a moment. I'm not going to go in order of the notes. I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult for you guys. But let's talk
go
about
in whatever order. I didn't bother with an order.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Apple event on September 7th.
Yeah, we finally got a official invite sent out by Apple, and it says, see you on the 7th. So you can kind of decode that however you want, whether that's, talking about whether they're going to do this dual camera system on a Plus version or the Pro version or whatever versions that they're going to have for the iPhone 7. But that's what it says on the official invitation.
Yeah, so it's on the 7th, and I guess now this is what they're going to do, right? It's going to be like the next one will be on the 8th, and the next one will be on the 9th, maybe, if it's like, the iPhone 8, the iPhone 9. They're just going to delay
Honestly, I think it was just a coincidence. Like, the timing kind of lined up.
How dare you? There's no such thing as a coincidence with Apple. There's no such thing as a coincidence with Apple.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a coincidence that they chose the 7th because it's the iPhone 7. I think that this year just kind of lined up. And they're like, oh, we can just put it on the 7th.
So here are the things.
It was like on September something, 6th or something weird.
Here's what we do know so far, right? It's going to be the same design as the iPhone 6. As far as aesthetically.
For the most part, yes.
For the most part. They did say that they moved where the antenna lines are. The higher... I don't know if the iPhone 7 will have it, but the 7 Plus will for sure have this dual camera system, which this is one of the bigger hardware upgrades that Apple has done in a long time. It's going to be capable of far better zooming capabilities. It also looks like the new dual camera will be limited to the larger... This is my idea and a lot of the reports... While one report claims that the 4.7-inch model will get optical image stabilization, a feature that was limited to the larger one. So they're going to take the camera from the 6S, put it in the 7, and the 7S will get, or the 7 Plus will get the higher, the dual camera integration. I'm curious as to how they're, we've seen different dual camera systems hit the market. LG has that implemented. There was another, I forgot the Chinese company that was doing it also. Not Huawei. It could have been Huawei. It's not ZTE, the other one with an X.
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi, yeah.
Whatever
they had implemented this dual camera system where rather than... So the way that the LG one works, from my understanding, is that one is for like a close-up. So it'll zoom in and it'll be it just for zoom. It's not literally stitching the image together, processing it together. I'm hoping this one actually takes two separate images, processes the images together, and gives you this like amazing photo. This is the beginning of the end for many people for DSLRs, and I'm not saying that it's over. I think photographers and people that are really into photography are going to still buy DSLRs, but I think this is the start of the it's good enough mentality for really good pictures. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that.
I mean, to an extent, I think point and shoots are pretty much like out of luck at this point.
The iPhone killed the point and shoot.
Right.
The iPhone killed it.
What I think it's the two cameras are going to be, so I mean, overanalyzing stuff. If you look at the invite, like it's showing a lot of bokeh, which is the like out of focus lights in the actual invite, which happens through depth of field of a camera. So it would make perfect sense if like the two camera system was basically to create that effect, almost like maybe the two cameras have a different f-stop.
Yeah.
So one camera has like a different f-stop than the other, and then that would help you create like pseudo depth of field like that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, it was Huawei that had the dual camera. It was Huawei. Now I'm remembering it. Yeah, we got to find out how they're going to implement this, what it's going to look like. We don't know. We don't know what the exact way of the dual camera setup is, but we'll find
we will
out
in 5 days.
We'll know in 5 days. Also, some of the other things that we do know is that there's going to be a redesigned home button. This was reported back in June. That sources indicated that Apple was working on a designed home button. The other one that we know, big deal, no headphone jack. Apple's removed the headphone jack and is forcing you to use either a wireless headphone or a lightning headphone or adapter. And yesterday, so we were talking about this, and John, Suncast had mentioned that he likes to plug his phone in and listen to music that way. He doesn't, if he's in bed, he just plugs it in and he listens to music on his iPhone that way. I was thinking it's even worse.
Is the difference, right?
Okay.
This iPhone, you'll plug your earpods in via Lightning, and it charges through the air. The air charges the phone. You never need to plug
You never need to. If you don't even need to ever charge it. It's going to last forever. Nuclear power. Apple's running a small little nuclear core in that thing, and that's how they're going to charge it. No, but here was the thing, right? The idea as well, you could still do that because you could get the breakout cable and plug in the headphones in that, and then plug the other one into power. Well, how about if you're not using the Lightning port? So now you're going to need another adapter to connect to that dongle and then connect that into the power. It's crazy. I don't know. The thing that I'm really curious about is how are people going to perceive this? Are people going to be happy and accept this?
I think we already know. Like,
what do you think?
I mean, YouTube comments specifically on my show, people throughout the months have been just not okay with this for whatever reason. And I kind of understand it to a point, but I mean, everyone freaked out when they removed the floppy drive, and it's just it might be them, just trying to thin the phone out, which a lot of people are like, the phone doesn't need to be any thinner, but I think mainly it's just an outdated piece of tech. That connector has been around for years.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, we'll just get rid of it and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah,
I mean, I think...
Well, let me ask you this then. Okay, so if it's outdated and they just want to just switch it to the Lightning connector, why don't they have 2 Lightning connectors then?
Because
just replace the one.
That's not very Apple-y.
It's not very Apple, John.
Lightning.
Well, Suncast, here's the thing with that. Apple doesn't like to take away and add more holes in your phone, right? They like this very slick, and the less inputs, the better. I mean, you look at that Mac, right? The MacBook that they have. The thing just has one USB Type-C thing, and it's like breakout cables. In their minds, they would rather have an elegant piece of hardware than to have practicality.
And everybody complained, but everyone still bought the thing, too.
Everybody still bought the thing, yeah. So let's see what happens. I'm curious about the headphone. The other thing is 32 gig to 256 gig models are going to be available. Bye-bye to the 16 gig.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're finally going to drop the 16 gigabyte base model.
Yeah, it's about time.
In favor of a 32 gigabyte base model, which is just duh.
It's amazing how everybody else starts at 64 gigs at that price point. That's the amazing part. A new space black color option is available.
Space black.
Space black.
That's also. You see, this is the thing. A lot of these things I think are just rumors at this point, and
no,
I honestly do not know how much of this stuff is going to be true. The whole dual camera system, that's still a rumor to me because I don't know how much of that is actually true and in what form it's going to be, because until we actually see how it's implemented, if they're implementing it, we don't really know exactly what it does.
Yeah. Listen,
that's the weird part of 2016, or just the past few years in general, that these leaks are totally accurate most of the time. There's just no secrets anymore. I think we first kind of got a confirmation when we saw cases come out. Case manufacturers starting to make cases, and the camera holes in the cases were much wider. That was kind of our first hint. But now we have full on leaked videos of working iPhone 7s.
Yeah.
So it's there's no way that Apple because I feel like if Apple really wanted to keep everything a secret, they could totally do it.
Absolutely. No, they like the leaks. They want it to leak. They want people to talk about it.
Right.
So
it's all for that one joke during the Apple event where they're like, "You didn't see this before, did you?"
Yeah.
Every year.
Possibly the Apple Watch 2 will be announced, a redesigned, a tweaked version of
Better be round.
Apple Watch 2. I have zero interest in that. It's good. It's probably going to be the same design, just overall change a little bit with improved battery life.
It's too expensive for me.
And it's not practical. People, I know people that bought it and they do not wear this thing all the time. So it's a major. If you're spending $500 on this,
it's novel, but that's a lot of money for something that's just novel.
Yeah. Watch OS 3, obviously, with a new phone, probably a new operating system. Beats wireless headphones. That's another leaked rumor from the PR team last week that they're going to have a Beats headphone. They're going to announce. The AirPod is another one. The first.
Can I tell you how little interest I have in Beats headphones?
Well, it's
are they
cool.
not some of the most overrated headphones?
They are overrated. John, do you have any Beats?
No.
Very overrated.
No.
Very overrated. We may get some information on macOS Sierra, like a release date. It's most likely being released this week, coming up. tvOS, a new updated version. It's going to get released. And possibly, here's the wild card, boys and girls, the new MacBook Pro. Listen, I really would like to see a new MacBook Pro. And if you think about this, the overall design of this MacBook that I have right now, that I bought a couple months ago, is like 4 years old at this point. They haven't really done anything. The chipset is old inside. It's a really old computer at this point. They have been holding off on this release for some reason, but the rumor is Apple's planning a new, thinner MacBook Pro to be released in the coming months.
Well, I think they're going to refresh the entire Mac lineup except for the Mac Pro, of course. But like I think that's later on in the year, and from what we see, the only like significant difference, which is kind of cool, is that the function keys at the top of the keyboard will be a touchscreen.
It'll be a touchscreen,
so it can adapt to whatever app you're in.
Which, I mean, that's cool. It's different. Let's just see if it happens.
Right.
And then a bunch of people are going to clap for everything.
Yeah,
that we do know. That is 100%.
Dude, like I report on this stuff almost every day, and I'm like, yeah, Apple event, this is going to happen. And like in my head, I have this expectation. But as we're sitting here and you're going through all the stuff, it just reminded me just how long they are. And how long we're going to sit through.
3 hours, dude. We're going to sit there for 3 hours on Wednesday. And we're going to sit there.
I don't think I'll make it.
Yeah, we'll make it. We'll do it. So next Wednesday, we're going to be doing this. And listen, hopefully it'll be a great announcement. It'll be cool, and we'll be happy with it. Let's see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens with this. So let's talk about the other big story here, and I want to give it some time. And Suncast really wanted to get John's opinion on this, and that's the YouTube ad guidelines. Last week, a lot of YouTubers started losing their minds because all of a sudden they had ads pulled, and it started saying that they were not advertiser friendly. Philip DeFranco, which is a big-time YouTuber, been there forever, I think like 10 years now since the platform launched. He had dozens of ads get pulled from his video. Now, YouTube is claiming that they changed nothing other than the way that they inform you of this, and they changed nothing with the advertising guidelines. I don't know how true that is. And as someone that is a YouTuber, John, and you make your living on YouTube, what is going on here? Okay,
so let me just start off and get everyone caught up and actually read the guidelines for you. So, like Andrew said, the guidelines have, quote unquote, been around. And here's what YouTube considers not advertiser friendly. So here's the type of content that falls into that category. Sexually suggestive content, including partial nudity and sexual humor.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Violence, including display of serious injury and events related to violent extremism. Also kind of makes sense, right? Inappropriate language, including harassment, profanity, and vulgar language. Maybe. Kinda. Can kind of see it. Promotion of drugs and regulated substances, including selling, use, and abuse of such items. Okay, also makes sense. Now, here's where it's just like so broad and vague, and it just like what? Anything could fall under this. Controversial or sensitive subjects and events, including subjects related to war, political conflicts, natural disasters, and tragedies, even if graphic imagery is not shown. So even if you just talk about it.
So let's say there is an earthquake.
Let's say there's an earthquake.
And I'm talking about this earthquake. YouTube may not want ads on that because we're discussing the earthquake.
Right, because
Okay.
that's a sensitive subject.
Okay, so I have a question. All these videos, all these rap videos on YouTube, do they have ads on there? Yeah, they
Did you
do.
say rap videos?
Rap videos, yeah, rap videos.
Right.
Like you're watching, like you're listening to a Kanye song and he's cursing and he's saying this about that person, and it's I mean
Right.
that's pretty not friendly content, advertiser friendly content.
Because like, okay, so here's the problem. YouTube has been doing this, they said. Now, if that's true, that means that they were essentially demonetizing videos and then the creator would never know. So this has been going on for around a year now. So they would demonetize videos and the creator would maybe look at analytics and say, huh, I made less money this month. Wonder what happened. But they probably wouldn't look too far into it. There was no indicator of exactly what happened. But now there is. YouTube is actually sending out emails to creators, kind of like when you get a copyright claim, you get an email that says, hey, this person claimed this.
Yeah.
Do you want to appeal it or whatever? So that's kind of what they're doing. They become more, quote unquote, transparent about it. You'll get an email that says, hey, this has been found to be not advertiser friendly. Do you want to appeal it? And of course you can. But in your analytics and your video manager, usually if the video is monetized, you have a little green circle with a dollar sign in the middle. If it's not advertiser friendly, that'll turn yellow and all ads will be taken off of it.
So have you had any ads come off of your video?
I had ads taken off of one video, and it was from like 2 years ago. We talked about a drug called Snapchat that was created. The word drug was in the title of the video, so it got demonetized. But I mean, like, my content is relatively neutral when it comes to like all of that stuff, which is unique because like any other news channel, of course, I'm tech news, but any other news channel would obviously talk about things that are happening in the world, most likely tragedies regarding like a natural tragedy or just a tragedy with a person. Like all this stuff could be considered sensitive or controversial. So like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
It's tough because you have to avoid it. And I'm sure like this is where kind of people are giving me a hard time because I said to a point I can understand it. Like Andrew, I'm sure when we work with brands, a lot of the times we do kind of get guidelines, right? Of like things that we can say because we're representing that brand.
Yeah,
they have
sure.
a reputation.
Sure.
And like there's just certain things they don't want their ads placed on. Right? Like that kind of makes sense. But on the back end of YouTube, when people are actually creating the ads, when brands are creating the ads, they kind of have an option of what they're okay with their ads being placed on because they want it to be targeted. So they kind of select, hey, I want tech content, this, that. But the algorithm for YouTube, the way this is working is it's basically looking at your tags. So it's an automated system. It'll look at your tags. It'll look at the title, the description, and if the words like if it's referencing anything specific, or if like right now a big thing is rape. If the word rape is in there, it'll demonetize it, which is tough because a lot of times people are like talking about rape prevention or like their stories and like. A lot of times, a lot of videos that got demonetized were about suicide. Like
I saw that. So he was talking about his depression. There was another video where a guy was talking about his depression.
That's kind of like that just sucks, you know. Like I can kind of understand it, but at the same time, like I feel. So for me, it doesn't matter. If I'm being completely honest, it doesn't matter. Ad revenue for my brand is not like a legitimate, substantial revenue.
On YouTube. You mean on YouTube?
Yeah, that's just not if they took ads off of YouTube completely, we would be fine. We'd still be in business. That's okay. But you think about these other creators that like their living depends on the ad revenue that they're getting.
Sure.
And that comes to like supporting their families and everything. And I understand that a lot of people are like, well, if you're going to do YouTube for the money, you shouldn't do it at all. But you got to remember, like the content creators that you love watching, like they have a life. They're adults. They need money to sustain what they're doing and give this content to you.
They're living. I mean,
right.
Listen, I get it, right? Like I get the mentality where okay, don't go in if you think you're going to become a millionaire on YouTube or make a living. Like it's the same as saying like, well, it's like going to Hollywood. You know, like if you think you're going to make a lot of money in the beginning, you're doing it for the wrong reason. I agree with that 100%. But these guys have been there for 10 years or 12, whatever the time is, and they already have a living. They're doing this. and they're relying on YouTube for income. And now all of a sudden, the stuff that they have been talking about that they have made money off of is not something that YouTube wants to put ads on.
So here's a tough question, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that we're talking about you specifically right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that ad revenue is like a substantial revenue stream for you.
Okay.
You don't take ads from advertisers like you currently do. Let's say that hypothetically that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I just rely on YouTube ads.
And all you have is YouTube ads. And you have a family that you have to support.
Yeah.
Do you feel like now you're being censored? Are you going to make conscious decisions to not talk about things or word things differently now?
You know, as a content creator, you have to kind of do what the provider is telling you to do, the advertiser is telling you to do. We have advertisers here that I know I can't do and say certain things, and if I did, they are more likely not to advertise with me. Now, with that said, I think the responsibility should be on the advertiser and YouTube to kind of be able to pick what they want to do. Like the people advertising on the Philip DeFranco show are advertising because they know they're going to get a lot of eyeballs. So he's a known guy. So for YouTube to pull these videos, I think it should be up to the advertiser to say, or this, you know what this says? The advertisers have no idea where they're putting their money.
Right.
They have no idea. And that's not good.
If this should be something that's in the advertiser's hands. It's the reason it's like it doesn't feel right is because it's YouTube, the middleman, and ad revenue is the only way that YouTube constantly, supports their creators and compensates them in any way. That's it. YouTube gives you ad revenue. That's what you get from YouTube. And they're stepping in and saying, like, this is all the stuff you can't talk about. And this is YouTube's rules. Like, it's one thing if there's a specific advertiser that doesn't want to roll ads on your content because you usually talk about this, that's fine, whatever. But give me another advertiser that might. That's not even an option. YouTube is saying, here are the rules, and this is how it's going to be. And now creators are feeling very, very censored in what they can say, especially people like Phil DeFranco, when all they talk about is controversial topics, tragedies, all that stuff. Because
does he talk about controversy? I mean, does he talk about controversy? I don't think his stuff is.
So his channel is literally just a news channel. So a lot of the times he's talking about drama between YouTubers or like events that are happening. It's all like all of his stuff is talking about controversial stuff most of the time because he's giving another perspective and trying to help people think about things differently. His show is very, very good. It's just very like unfortunate. I think at some point, like he said, he got 40 videos now unmonetized on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's income.
That's not. I think he also said that he'd be fine. He has other revenue streams, obviously, but like it just feels weird that this is happening. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like something has to change eventually.
Do you think something's going to change now?
I feel like it has to. Like the only here's the tough part. YouTube's in a tough spot that they haven't normally been in. So like they've been number one, and that's the thing. Like they've been able to do whatever they want. Now though, we have companies like Facebook trying to compete, and like all these platforms that are implementing video, and now they're offering creators money. Like Twitter just announced that they are so YouTube's revenue stream, their ad revenue is 55 to the creator, 45 to YouTube.
Yeah.
Twitter just offered 70 to the creator, 30 to Twitter.
But so here's the other problem with this. The reason why YouTube is so successful is because they have the best directory to find things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And everybody, like Dailymotion has competed with YouTube, and they have not been able to compete in the capacity that Dailymotion, all these sites went away because of content discoverability. YouTube did a great job at highlighting new content and getting discovered just based on search. I don't know how Twitter is going to get into the game of content discoverability and content creation.
Yeah, that's the tough part. It's just YouTube is still in a pretty decent position, but the way that YouTube makes money is from its creators. Creators are YouTube's inventory. The creators are YouTube's product. That's who they sell ads onto. That's how brands, connect with an audience is through these creators. So when you start upsetting multiple creators, and a lot of these creators are like, these are bigger people. These are people that are doing this full time and are depending on this, and you took that away from them. obviously there's going to be backlash, and I feel like eventually YouTube's going to have to shift some policies, because if they don't, then this is a very slow death for creators. These creators that are completely depending on ad revenue, it's not like tomorrow they're going to stop. They're probably going to be able to keep going, but with no money supporting and sustaining this stuff, they can only do it for so long, and that just sucks for everyone, the creators and YouTube. And I just feel like the policy has to shift.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes and what the backlash will be. I mean, listen, when things like this happen, it's a great opportunity for another company to come in. The reality is, yeah, YouTube does, these major creators, it's a major force, but the backbone of YouTube will always be somebody uploading some random video.
Right.
That's really how they gain popularity. That's how people
if
discover
we're being
the
honest,
platform.
Andrew, Facebook has kind of come out of nowhere with like a legitimate video platform. I mean, it's not perfect, and content discoverability, as you said, like with Twitter, it's not great on Facebook either, but that's the thing. It could be. Like, the technology is there to make that a possibility. I think don't you use Facebook Live almost every stream?
I do, yeah, but I don't.
Like I said, it's not perfect.
It's
but
not.
The fact
it's
that you're
not
actually
great.
using it now is something. You're not just kind of shrugging it off. You're actually using it.
Yeah, no, we use it, but discoverability wise, it's very, it's non-existent. You really can't be discovered on this thing.
Right.
Unless it's your own audience. So let's see where this goes. This is an interesting discussion, and I'm sure we're going to have more of this, because this is a major, major deal in terms of video content and where we're headed with this stuff. Because if the advertisers don't want to advertise, guess what? The content creation is going to get kind of crappy, and I don't know what'll happen beyond that. So, couple other things here. John, you still with us, Suncast?
I am.
Okay, good. Did you enjoy that conversation?
I did.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I just do my shows for Suncast. HP, and I was talking about this on What the Tech, has really changed their perception and of how they handle the PC market. They've somewhat have become a premium brand, where a couple of years ago they were not putting out good hardware, to the point that they were going to kill their hardware division, their PC division. Now, very, very different company, very different approach to higher-end content. Higher-end content. I'm still on the YouTube topic. Higher-end products. Their answer to a premium laptop for many years was doing a MacBook clone. Now they're doing some really unique designs and really awesome Ultrabooks, and it's really, really cool to see. That Spectre laptop that Paul and Mary Jo have.
Spectre is beautiful.
It's stunning. And it seems like their color pattern is now that black and like copper gold. And you see it across other designs. Now, they announced this one, I guess, desktop PC, and it's called the Elite Slice. And this is a modular device. And that's the interesting thing. So what I mean by modular is, this is the base, right? And it kind of looks like a Mac Mini. But if you need to expand, you need to add an optical drive, there you go. You just snap it on the bottom. You want to add speakers, snap it on the bottom.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, you want to add so that's the optical drive. There's an audio module that you put on. There's a meeting room module, so it's, I guess, like a microphone and speaker. So you could put that right on there. You could put the Visa plate, which lets you mount it on the back of the computer. And there's going to be a wireless charging cover for this device. Now, the price is not that cheap. It is around $700. But it's a very interesting design concept. And the build quality, from what I've seen and what I've heard, is actually very good. Very, very good. This is an interesting HP. This is a new way for them to think. I really think they have an advantage in this marketplace by coming up with unique content. Now, they also have a Pavilion model called the Pavilion Wave that is more like a Mac Pro competitor. And it has this woven fabric design around it, which is pretty cool. It looks really nice.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, well, I like it. I think it's cool looking. I think it's different.
I like it.
I don't care, John.
It looks
I like
good, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's fabric. It'll rip.
Well, maybe you shouldn't touch it, and maybe you should keep your room clean, John. I listen. It's a very unique design, and I think these are the things that are changing in the PC world. Where the PC world was, think about it. It was a stupid tower. You had some stupid beige tower with a ridiculously large keyboard, and you sat in front of a CRT monitor. And look where we're at right now. Everything is very changed. Everything is smaller and quicker and better.
Right.
But the bad news here is, so a lot of other computers got announced this week. A lot of unique ideas. And the PC market is doing some really unique and interesting laptops, and to the point that the MacBook Pro, is looking like this dated old design. The MacBook Pro is not. It's like the ThinkPad now. It's like this classic design. There's nothing innovative about this device, and that is bad news for the Mac. This is why
That's the sad part, where Apple will release MacBooks once every couple years, and then the PC market is just cranking them out by the hundreds.
And they're so aggressive with overall design, where there's something for everybody. I really think that Apple needs to respond quickly with an overall design for a product.
That's kind of good, though, right? Because the PC market, it was dying. I mean, it is dying. And what happens when things are getting that scary? Companies get desperate and they start creating new ideas and start thinking differently about stuff. And this is what we get, and that's awesome. Competition is awesome.
Competition is great, and I'm glad to see the PC market doing so well, and kind of sticking it to Apple and saying, listen, you're not the only one anymore that could come up with a really nice design. You don't have this advantage that you did a couple years ago. The PC market was falling apart, and that's why it wasn't that Apple had some special technology that it could build these laptops. They didn't have access to things other people didn't. They came up with a nice design. They stuck with it. Now the PC market has caught on to what they were doing, and aesthetics sell. That's how it works. And all these manufacturers are putting out these beautiful, beautiful, ultra thin, really nice looking laptops. So let's see what happens. But I was really interested by the HP stuff. They're doing some really cool things here.
I have a completely different opinion, because I'm looking at these devices. The Pavilion Wave, I have absolutely zero interest in.
But you're not who that product is appealing to. You want this giant tower.
I don't see any appeal to these products. That's
for anybody?
Thing. To me, they both seem extremely novel and something to throw against a wall and see if it sticks.
But it's novel for what reason? That's the way
I see these products. It's okay, well, let's try something radical and different and see if this works out. Because at this point, the PC industry is so lost and it's dying. They have no idea what to do to save it. And I don't think there's anything they can do to save it. It's just times have changed. People have moved on. People don't need a PC.
To an extent,
listen, I agree with you on that. No.
To an extent, I actually agree.
I do too.
There's no denying it. It's a mobile first world. Phones, tablets. The only thing the average consumer needs is to get online somehow, check emails, watch videos, whatever, the basic stuff. And the best computer you have at this point is the one in your pocket. I don't think that they can stop the market from dying, but they can certainly slow it. And I think you're exactly right. They're just throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks. But the thing is, it's actually cool stuff. What they're doing is decent, and I think that there is some people out there that want to buy it. I think that personally, I think that stuff looks super cool. I'm not saying that I would buy it because it's not what I need specifically, but I still don't. I still think it's cool.
I think it comes down to
it's like a
needs.
netbook. In 4 years' time, I don't think any of these products will exist.
You know what it is? It comes down to what are your needs, right? What is your need? Do you want... It's the same thing as the people that go and buy those all-in-one PCs, right? That seems to be a trend that has apparently caught on. A lot of people buy those iMac type devices. And we've seen everybody from Lenovo to HP to Acer to Asus put one out, and they sell. These mini PCs are the next thing that I think will be selling. You're putting an i7 in this. Who wants this giant hunk of metal sitting in their office? Nobody. You want something that's elegant. People are buying things based on the way they look, not the way that they perform. I'm talking about most people. I'm not talking about if you're a graphic designer, or I'm not talking about if you're an editor. I'm talking about most people. You go into someone's office, what would they rather have? This nice piece of appliance, or do they want the megalith of a product sitting in their office? I guarantee you, it's most likely going to be a nice little, pretty device that's on their desk. That's what HP's going after. It's a premium market. It's not necessarily, me or you or a gamer. It's a premium market that buys based on the design. And I think they're doing a good job with it. Now, who knows if it's going to stick? I just think for the time being, it's not bad looking.
Right.
And that's how the donuts are made. Guys, another thing here, quickly, is a possible new Chromecast. And I just closed out the story. Does anybody have it?
Yeah, so apparently Google is going to have a hardware event on October 4th where they're going to supposedly announce a 4K capable Chromecast and also Pixel phones, which is going to be their Nexus line replacement, and Daydream VR device. So this is going to be very interesting. This is according to Android Please. Sources say the device will either be called the Chromecast Plus or the Chromecast Ultra, but nothing else is really known about it. It's probably just going to be minimalist in nature, just like the Chromecast. So you're probably not going to see anything different in terms of design, but it'll have the updated hardware specs to be able to deliver encoding and decoding of 4K video.
So have they done any upgrades on this device? Because I have an original Chromecast. And I don't know if it's less capable than a Chromecast that I could buy tomorrow in the store or the same.
I mean, the newer Chromecast doesn't have 4K support, obviously. That's the whole thing for this, the newest one. But it is updated. They came out, I don't know if you remember, but they came out with the Chromecast and the Chromecast Audio.
Yes, they did. Okay, yeah.
Like a disc.
I used the Chromecast. I did not use my Chromecast for years until recently. I watch Japanese wrestling, and the only way I can watch it on my TV is if I have it on my Android phone, and I just send it to the Chromecast.
I was going to say something similar, but then you took it a different direction, because I had a Chromecast 2, an original one, for the longest time that I never even took out of the box until like a few months ago.
Oh, it's same thing with me. No, mine was sitting in a box. I actually had two of them that I was going to give to people as a gift, and I never did. And I used one of those.
I think it's come a long way, and it's not nowhere near as clunky as it was when it debuted.
No, it was terrible when it debuted. It was absolutely terrible.
And I think that's made a huge difference in the improvements.
Yeah. Humongous difference. So, let's talk about this Pixel. John Prosser, what do you know about this Pixel phone?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
I just know, so we'll probably get two. Obviously, HTC at this point is the one manufacturing these phones. And it kind of looks like, at least the Pixel, from what I'm seeing and from what the leaks have shown, it looks like a recycled HTC A9-ish kind of phone. So if you look, HTC last year or something released the A9, which is a phone, and everyone was kind of talking about how it kind of looks like an iPhone. I just think it was just a design coincidence. I don't know if they were directly cloning it. Either way, that's what the actual Nexus device, what the quote unquote.
Oh my God, it does look just like an iPhone.
Yeah, it looks. It's a recycled A9. So if you look at the A9, you'll kind of get a better idea of what this is going to look like. Yeah. We had reports last week that they were getting rid of the Nexus name. People were saying that they were going to replace it with a G, just a Google G. And I guess now we're getting the Pixel name, which kind of makes sense from the other Pixel devices that we have. Google said that they were going to be more opinionated about the Nexus devices. That's what they said like last year. And they weren't kidding. So they're changing the name, but also it's not going to run stock Android, which is what Nexus devices are known to do, and that's kind of like the main selling point. So that kind of worries me. But
so what is it running?
Well, it's going to run Android, but it's going to be like how we have, Samsung has TouchWiz and HTC has HTC Sense. Like, it's these forked versions of Android that have their own like theme and aesthetic to them and feature set. So I'm kind of worried about that it's not stock Android, because I love stock Android. That's like the selling point of Nexus devices. But since Google has their hands on this and is
more fragmentation.
Really molding the direction, since Google's molding this, I'm gonna hope that the features that they add or whatever they add to this makes sense, and I hope that it keeps the same value of when we release a new version of Android, you get it. But the more and more you steer away from stock Android, the less and less that happens, and the more fragmentation there is.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way,
that would be my concern too.
Yeah, me too. So, since we're on the phone topic, I have another thing. I just saw this on my phone. Verizon has issued an update for the Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge, and it adds FM radio support. So, guys, if you want to listen over the air radio, this is it.
Wow.
A bunch of bug fixes and FM radio support, which was added to other carriers several months ago and is now on the Verizon version. In addition, Samsung now includes a built-in barcode scanner app called Barcode Beaming Service. How excited are we?
That reminds you how out of touch mobile carriers are.
Other things bundled in this update include fixes for HD voice call dropping, for some users experiencing it, as well as a fix for other devices that randomly power off and restart. I hate my phone now because I cracked the screen on mine. And
do you
Verizon.
do that with every phone you have?
What?
Do you crack the screen on every phone?
No, this is the first time. First time. I've never done it. I cracked it 3 days into having the phone, and they want $250 to send me the replacement.
What?
Yep. Even
Should
with
have said I opened the box and this is how it came.
This is how it came, guys. Sorry. The other thing, there's a major Samsung problem. Suncast, if you want to touch on this, Samsung is recalling about 2.5 million Galaxy Note 7s because they're exploding.
Following several reports that batteries are exploding, Samsung has issued a global recall of the device, and sales have been halted effective immediately, and all devices being sold are being replaced. The problem occurs when the faulty devices are being charged, and is down to an issue with the batteries themselves, not the power adapter or the circuitry. And apparently it affects only a small percentage of devices, but when shipments are, in the millions, it's a big problem. Samsung is saying that so far they have a total of 35 cases of default being reported to date.
Wow.
But still, when you talk about 35 batteries exploding,
right,
that's a very big issue.
Because you don't know when the other ones will explode.
I guess that's what happens when you have this technology that charges the phone in 5 minutes.
Is that what it is?
They have turbocharge on these phones. It's insane.
Yeah.
And
apparently they've sourced their batteries from both China and Korea, and so far it's only known to happen with the Korean-made batteries.
Really? That's so interesting. So I wonder if you're right, John, if it is the fast charging stuff that's really screwing them up.
It's just I think that they're trying to shove too much power in this thing. It reminds me of back in my senior year, I had an iPhone 4 with the glass back, you know, and my phone was dead. So what I did was I plugged my phone to charge it into a car battery, and it shattered the entire phone.
You plugged it into a car battery?
Yes.
How?
Answer. Listen,
How?
I was a senior, and I had an adapter that I could literally I just plugged it in. I connected it to the car battery, and it just exploded the phone. The entire back sheet of glass just went, and just everything from inside the phone just shattered.
You know,
that's what this reminds me of.
And then how did you feel after you did that?
Like an idiot. Like an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good experiment. Did people learn from your mistakes?
No, I was by myself.
Oh, my God. Even worse.
Yeah. I learned, though. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, never will do that again.
Fun fact for anyone listening or watching, don't plug your phone into a car battery. Usually a bad idea.
Yeah, not a good idea.
And don't charge your S7 Note thing.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for watching this week. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the show this week. You go to our website, gfqnetwork.com, subscribe to the podcast, also support us, braintreepayments.com/TNW. If you're buying anything on Amazon, use our link, gfq.co/Amazon. That's gfq.co/Amazon. Bookmark it, save it, put it on your toolbar, do whatever you're doing, and every time you buy something on Amazon, click on that link, and then we get a credit every time you buy something. So it really helps us out. Follow Suncast on Twitter at Suncast. John, what's your Twitter?
At John_Prosser.
At John_Prosser, and I'm
Or you
Andrew
could just
Terry.
follow Front Page Tech.
Front Page Tech also. Yeah, follow Front Page Tech. If you want Front Page Tech, you can go to the website, frontpagetech.net.
FrontPageTech.net.
See, I got it right this time. Or you go to gfknetwork.com. All the content is on there. They're also on YouTube. Subscribe to them. They're everywhere. Wherever you see them, subscribe. And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.